Hola a todos. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for our community update meeting regarding the school closures and consolidation. So we have some important updates for you today that we're going to jump into and give you uh, in a minute. I just wanted to thank you all for your patience. We did have to cancel one of the community update meetings that was scheduled for last month, and so we have some pretty good information this time around. So, can you go to the next slide? Do you want me to go over the agenda, Sergio, or you want to do
Yeah,
it? Or
just quick.
yeah, let me just give you just a quick overview of today's agenda. So we're going to give you just a quick introduction into what we're doing. Some wonderful things are happening here in this district with our baseline system study. We'll give you an idea of what that means and what we're doing with that. Summer school information, the dates, also information on summer meals. We're going to be offering meals at some of our sites. Review just uh, the budget timeline of the May revise and where we're at with that process and where we'll be in June. And then also an update on transportation. Information on some of the projects, summer projects. We're going to be painting some of our schools, so we'll give you more information on that. And then also, there's new websites that are coming our way as we move closer to reimagining our beautiful Alum Rocks Union School District. And then we'll close out with a Q&A. Sergio will walk you through that, and we'll hopefully try to answer all the questions you may have regarding the school district, the closing of this school year, and then, of course, the reopening for next year. So with that, I'll turn it over to Sergio so he can turn it over to instructional services. Or I think I just did that. So I'll just turn it over to Sandra Garcia, our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, whom she has quite a few updates for from the instructional side of the house. It's all yours, Sandra. You're on mute.
Oops, sorry. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you all today. And we have some, like Mr. Serta said, I have some important updates to give you from instructional services this evening. And the first one that we're going to share is some information on some very important work that we are diving into here in Alum Rock as part of, as he said, reimagining Alum Rock. We're also really taking a look at the systems that we have in place currently in our district and what we need to improve for better student outcomes. So we have contracted with Orenda Education, and they are helping us with this work. And the first thing that we've done is what they call an equity study or a baseline study. And what that does for us is it helps us understand the systems and conditions that are producing the current student outcomes in our district. So we've started with that, and then we will be, the goal is for us to be able to align all systems to positively impact student success. And that's coming in the future after we understand the results of this baseline system study. So the hope is that, we'll bringing all educators together to develop universal course expectations to make sure that our students are getting the support that they need, when they need it, in the way that they need it. And one of the first things we'll be doing probably is looking at all the standards and aligning those by grade level. But before I go any further, we wanted to share with you a video of a recent power clinic that we had with our administrators in our district. So Sergio, if you want to show that, please.
So today our site administrators alongside our instructional service division came together to learn and develop their core understanding of what's to come from the baseline system study and what it's founded in, so that we can start to address student acceleration across the district and really work alongside our teachers who will be driving the universal course expectations in order to accelerate all students and all learners up around our district. So for educators to truly feel supported, it's crucial for administrators to understand the strategic systems work, building equity-driven systems. This knowledge equips them to lead initiatives that address systematic barriers, promotes fairness, and creates a more inclusive and supportive environment where all educators can thrive, which in turn leads to the success for all of our students.
What I really loved about this whole process, as an educator, as somebody that likes to be able to dive into data from not a punitive perspective, but looking at it more of a mystery and trying to solve a problem, what I really enjoyed is that all of this engagement together was really looking at what are those processes, what is it that we are doing, what is the system that is currently in place that is creating the outcomes that we currently have. None of that was ever from a negative lens. It was always looking at it from what is it that we are going to start doing to be able to set us up for that foundation or that stepping stone, if you will, and for us as leaders at school sites to be able to bring back to our school site.
So I'm excited about this work because as an educator, we never want to have to reinvent the wheel. And so having all of our systems strategically aligned and make it so that we flow evenly from what's important in kindergarten to first grade to second grade allows the educators time to actually teach and get to those main important goals and skills that will help our students thrive and succeed in all of their future endeavors.
Hey, thanks you all for indulging the imperfect audio, but yeah, handing it back to Sandra.
Okay, so next steps in this process is we will be getting the results from this baseline system study in a few weeks. And then we will be diving into the work based on what the study is telling us are next steps. So more to come. We'll continue to provide updates as we get into the work.
Great.
And I'll continue with some updates regarding summer school. We still have some programs available if you are interested in having your child attend a summer program this summer. The summer dates are June 16th through July 15th. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to the state and federal department, and the phone number is there on your screen, or email them at expandedlearning@arusd.org. And we will be offering, as we do every year, summer meals for all children 18 and under. And if you can go to the next slide, we'll share information on that. Breakfast and lunch. So if you would like your child, even if they're not, if they're in the summer program, they will be receiving breakfast and lunch. But this is for all students, for all children 18 and under. If you are not attending summer school, you can still come by the school cafeteria at these schools listed here: Meyer, Dorsa, Curitin, George, Middle, and Cassell, and pick up a lunch for your child. And a breakfast or lunch, and the hours are there on the flyer. So, take advantage of that. And it's for any child 18 and under in the community. And then the third update I have is about special education changes. We did make some changes in location of some of our programs, and we just wanted to reiterate some of the information that we've shared in the past, shared at our board meeting recently, the reason for that. And so for the 2025 school year, we made the following changes so that we would ensure a continuum of services. Student services will not be impacted. Students will still receive all services written into their IEP. And don't worry about any of that if you have a student that is being impacted by a change. The other reason is to provide more TK5 programs for special education. More sites in our district will house TK5 grades classes for special day classes. So this will allow students to remain at the same school for a longer period of time, TK all the way through 5th grade. In the past, students were having to change schools every few years. So this will allow them to stay in one school, build community, build friends, develop those relationships with friends and staff through their whole elementary career and then moving to a middle school. The third reason is to provide enhanced collaboration and support. So having more programs at more schools allows for that collaboration between regular ed and general ed classes and students with individual IEPs, IEPs. So it gives families the increased opportunities to remain at one school, like I said, and also the staff at the schools to be able to collaborate and do more things together. If you have any questions regarding your child's placement, all placement letters have gone out. You should have received those by now. But if you still have questions, you can call our special services department and the number is there on the screen if you have more questions. Okay. And I think that is it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think so for business services, there are some updates, and I think I might see our chief business officer might not have been able to join us.
I'm
So
here. I can do it. I'll do it, Sergio. Yeah.
I'll hand it back to Superintendent Seda.
Thank you. Yeah. Assistant Superintendent of Business, Teresa DeSales couldn't be here for this meeting, so I will give you the update. Just a quick budget timeline. As you know, the governor did release his May revision from January to May. This is something that he does every year on May the 14th. So there was a drop in our COLA, which was, I believe it went from 2.43 percent, it dropped 0.13, so to 2.30, which is, it's still money, right? We're losing some funds for next year based on the projected revenues that are declining in the state. May 22nd, Assistant Superintendent of Business reported the third interim report to the Board of Trustees. And districts that are in a qualified status like us or in a negative, right? We're more on a qualified status, which means, and we're actually looking better. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But we do have to provide the county with a third interim report. And I do want to share some good news regarding our third interim. In January, when the second interim was reported, and to now, we did tighten up on our budget and we did see a little bit over $3 million in savings, which puts us in a better situation in the out years, right? In years 2, 3. And so now we're looking good, but we're still deficit spending. Next year, I believe we're deficit spending more than $9.5 million. And then in the third year out, the 27, 28, we're deficit spending seven and a half or more million dollars. So, but we're looking a little bit better in that we still have money in the bank, right? We're keeping our reserve, even though we are deficit spending, but it gives us the opportunity to reevaluate our budget next year, depending on where we're at with our enrollment, and then also assess where we're at and whether we need to make additional cuts or not. And then also looking ahead in August or so, we'll have an idea of where the state funding will be. And so we'll have an update for you then as well as for. And then on June 12th, that'll be the next regular board meeting. There will be the 2026 budget will be presented on what we're recommending for next year. We are tightening up on our budgets. And also there will be an LCAP, our local control and accountability plan, public hearing, and then also presentation to the Board of Trustees. And I believe this is Kyla Jimenez, our director, right, will be doing that. So our staff will be presenting on that. And then I do have an update for you on transportation. On May, did you want me to do that one, Sergio, the transportation, or
Yeah,
am I taking somebody else's thunder?
no, I think
Okay.
Rick's also not here.
Got it. Okay. So May 30th, the bus application will be released. Currently, the application will be available for families that completed the bus route interest survey that was released a month and a half or so ago. That was completed by approximately, I believe it was 165 or so families for approximately 200 plus students. Currently, the transportation department will have routes for elementary for Dorsa to Hubbard, Curitan to Lindale, Casell to Aptitude, Meyer to Hubbard. There will be routes for middle school as well, from Aptitude to Ocala, George to Shepherd, Hubbard to Ocala, Fisher to Ocala, and Fisher to Matson. We're also looking at securing, and I believe it's going to go to the June 12th board meeting in purchasing. And I believe we had mentioned this to you at an earlier community update where we are looking at purchasing two additional large buses that can seat between 60 to 80 students if it's elementary. Of course, bodies are smaller, right? So you can fit more students in a bus, up to 75 or so or 80, and 60 middle school students. But even without those two buses, the transportation department, kudos. They're doing a fantastic job. They evaluated all the applications and they're able to transport families, the students, to the schools that they will be attending. And we're going to be sending out the routes to you soon. So if you did if you did submit a survey and are requesting transportation, please make sure that you complete the application that will be released on May 30th. And the application will be due on June 22nd. Once we get that, we're going to go ahead and send the routes to you. And then by July 21st, the transportation department will be confirming the bus routes, and you'll be notifying parents of acceptance, and or they'll be following up with you if you're missing any information or so. Thank you, Sergio. Then And then summer school projects. It's going to be a busy summer for our schools. The schools that will remain open, the Board of Trustees, a couple of board meetings ago approved the painting of all our 13 schools. So what I asked the school sites was to put together a committee or of well-represented stakeholders that could give the principal the recommendation of the colors of the schools that will be painted. And then May 2025, as a matter of fact, it's actually this week, school color selection and site walkthroughs have been conducted. By mid-June, we will be selecting who the painters will be that will be painting the school sites. And then by late June, the painting will begin. And then late July, we're hoping that all the school sites will will be completely painted and ready for opening in August when school starts. And this is a priority because I think, from my understanding, these schools have not been painted in a very long time. And so this is just phase one. Phase two will also, now that we have a new senior that will be supervising the maintenance and operations as well as the bonds. We'll be working on phase two and addressing other areas that we need to focus on to improve our classrooms so that students have conducive learning environments. And that's all I have as far as like school painting for this summer. And
Yeah, I think another thing that's going to be happening over the summer is we're going to be going through a website redesign. And just wanted to give you guys a quick look at what that's going to look like. As you all are familiar right now with our school websites now, they look something like this with the header bars with the different buttons along the top, and then our programs highlighted as our main navigation. With images of our students and then information as you scroll down the page. So the new website is going to look a little different. And this is what it will look like for the school sites and the district level. This specific one is the district level, but the school sites will match very similarly. And so we're going to be updating a lot of the menus to make it more standard to what you can typically expect from a regular website that you visit, with things like our programs split by department, and information that people usually look for, highlighted along the top and center. When you hover over the pages, they will drop down information that folks typically look for. And so we're excited to be able to roll that out. Just ask for some patience and as we do roll it out, because we know it's going to run into some technical difficulties, and also some of the pages might change. So just keep an eye out for that. As we're rolling it out, we're going to have surveys on the screens here as you're conducting or as you're visiting the website. So do give us feedback so that we can look into the problems that you're having and help improve that as we roll it out. So yeah, thanks. Aside from that, the next slide here is just about our future community update meetings, just to give a plug for when the next one is going to be before we open it up for our Q&A. And we have the June 18th meeting. So we are going to have a few meetings over the summer. The next one will be June 18th in about 3 weeks time. And then the final one will be in the summer before school starts, July 24th. So we'll also be sharing more information about those meetings and sending the links as we lead up to that. And with that, I think we're going to be moving into the Q&A portion now. But one thing before we do, I do want to just give a plug for giving us feedback on our survey. It really does help us figure out what kind of things folks in our meetings are looking for, if the meetings are helpful, and if they're not, how we can help make it more informative for you. So please do give us feedback. It takes about a minute. It's really quick. With that, I'm just going to go back to some questions that came up in the chat, and I see one from Susie here, and Susie, I'm gonna ask you to unmute because I don't know if I fully understand the question, but it's about the school schedule with the start time being 9 a.m. And I think this might be related to the bus routes.
Yes, yes. So the reason why I'm asking is because my daughter currently goes to Renaissance at Fisher, and their start time is at 9. So I'm asking, does that mean that Renaissance at Matson, their start time will not be the same? Because I assume that the bus routes are going to be all in the morning, and I think that Fisher is the only one that does not have the same start time. So I'm just wondering, will that change?
you want to take this one, Sandra, or Tara?
We, all elementary schools are starting at 8:30 a.m. and all, middle schools are beginning at 8:45 a.m.
And then I had another question. It was regarding Matson again. I went to the little event that they had, and none of the classrooms were really open, but I did notice that they do not have a track. Like their track is like it seems like they used to have a track, but now it's like covered in grass. So my question is, at Fisher they had one. Will you guys over the summer be working on getting them a track, or how will they be doing like their miles and things like that?
I can address that one. Yeah,
Thank you.
we're going to be fixing, you're asking some very good questions. Yes, we've started at some of the other sites working on the tracks as well. The other thing I didn't mention is we're working on the irrigation systems for some of the tracks.
Okay.
And so they're going to be packing the tracks, removing all the weeds, but also making them safer because there seems to be a problem in a lot of our tracks with the irrigation system, but also with ground squirrels and or gophers or yeah, I think it's ground squirrels. So yeah, we're gonna be addressing that and getting them ready for the start of the school year. We want to make our schools, um, well, one, give them that curve appeal, but also, uh, we want to make it safe and also give our students the facilities that they need, right, to do what they need to do, and especially in physical education. And then phase two, like I mentioned, we're going to be working on, painting those classroom, fixing those windows, plumbing. I know there's some sewer lines that we're going to be working on at some of the sites as well, and as well as fixing some of the restrooms. So thank you for asking those questions, Susie.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that they're not going to be running like on the blacktop or something, because I know like that's a little dangerous. So I just wanted to make sure that was going to be worked on while they were out during summer. So when they come back, it's ready. So thank you very
Yep,
much.
work on it. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is around special education and the special day classes. Is there other options for schools for the special day classes? And this specific person is coming in as an incoming fifth grader. And I think Sandra, you mentioned that the schools or students in this special education program receive their school placement. And I guess maybe the question, Anita, I'm going to ask you to see if you would be willing to unmute, but the question seems to be whether there's an option to change schools.
Yes, my question is, yeah, because I know that my son was being placed at, I believe it's, I don't even know the name of the school. All I know is it's on McGinnis. And in the past, he's been an eloper. And so I'm a little scared of him being so close to Story Road, especially in the beginning. And I want to just know what my options are as a parent. If that's the only school available, what other options are there that he may have?
Sandra, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Sandra.
Sorry. If you can call the special ed department, they can discuss your options with you.
Okay.
So
I-
space, but I know that they will be able to walk you through that.
Yeah, I had did that, and she basically said there's no option. And so at this point, I don't really want to transfer him out of the district, but I'm so afraid because I've seen him, leave campus or, leave classes where they couldn't find him. And, being so close to Story Road, it's like,
Yeah.
as a mom, it's frightening for me. What happens if he gets out?
Anita,
know.
let me get your name down and I'll have Mr. Colonna reach out to you, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the next question is around the DCP Alum Rock closure next to Ocala. Is there an update around the DCP building being used to accommodate students?
Yeah, well, let me give you an update. We're still working on that. We're looking, since they're not going to exist, I believe they defaulted on their loan, so we're looking to see if we could purchase that property. It's still a work in progress. We do have our legal team working with their banks, the bondholders, to hopefully secure that. But I'm hoping to have an update by June or so. So cross your fingers because I'm hoping we do get that property back.
Great. And then the next question here is around who to contact around inter-district transfers for next year. They had submitted an application and are curious. And I think that's Sandra, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, so if you can call our student services department And I'm trying to get the phone number here. I should know it at the top of my head. It is
408, Sandra?
Yeah,
okay.
this is on.
Yeah,
I see
yeah,
it.
408 928 6945
Thank you.
is our direct line. We'd be happy to take the parents' calls and walk them through where their application is. Speaking specifically about Ocala, there are some applications that are currently on hold as we're waiting for an update. And Mr. Seda has been updating us on the status of the DCP building. So as soon as we get, clarification there, we will be also calling the parents to update them as we get more information.
Thank you, Jesus. And just to add to that, um, I thank you for your patience, but it's a good problem to have that we have students wanting to enroll in our schools. And so that's something that we hope to continue and grow on. So thank you, and thank you for your patience, but we'll definitely get through this.
Next question I have here is about that growth. Also, it's about the buildings that are needed for growth. For students or for schools that are growing, what's the plan for any new rooms or portables that those growing schools might need?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we're going to be monitoring that carefully. If we do see a need for a school to grow, each of the schools has a an operational capacity, right? But if we can exceed that, and if there is more interest at a particular school, remember that we have portables at some of the school sites that we've closed, right? Some of the school sites that have been closed, and so we can always grab some of those portables, fix them, make them ready, and transfer them over to the location. Now, once we reach a operational capacity and we can no longer exceed it, then we do have board policy that we have to follow when it comes to intra-district and inter-district permits. And so what we need to do is create some type of wait list or lottery that's fair, right? That's not selective and exclusive of students, but that it's fair and random. And so that's something that based on our declining enrollment, we're not projected to get there yet. But if it does get to a level where we need to add portables, it's a good problem to have, right? Because more students means more funding for the district. And so we'll make sure that we either purchase the portables or transfer some from some of the sites that are closed.
Okay, and then the next question is around, I think, coming back to the topic of the bus routes. Sandra, could you repeat the start times for elementary and then the start times for middle school? Because I think they're also the parents are curious if the bus routes are going to cover the start times. Sorry,
So
what were those times?
elementary, TK through fifth grade will begin at 8:30 a.m. and then middle school will be 8:45 a.m.
And Sandra, can you also talk about early drop off? I think that's also a question that.
We will have early drop off available at all of our elementary schools next year. So if students need to be dropped off as early as 7:30 in the morning, we will have that available for students.
That's what, yeah. Oh, and maybe the question is asking, will the bus route cover students who will be interested in starting early at the 7:30 a.m.?
Yeah, she answered that. Early drop off. Sergio.
Okay, sounds good. So yes. The next question I have here, I think that same question, that question is answered by what we just talked about. So this is maybe a question dash comment. Most schools are 20 students for
I-
TK3.
I can answer that one, Sergio, and Sandra, you can jump in if I screw it up.
Mm.
We have class sizes are, the question is regarding class sizes, like most classes in TK through 3 are 20 to 1, and classes 5 to 8, which is, it's really 4 to 8, correct? Sandra is 31.
Yes.
It's actually at 31 from 4th grade to 8th grade, and then TK through 3rd is not 20 to 1 to 1.
TK Kinder is 20 to 1, and then first through third is 24 to 1.
24 to 1. So the question is, are we planning to increase this number? No, and let me tell you why, but there is some flexibility there. This is negotiated with the teachers union, so we're capped at 31, capped at 24 for first through fourth, and then capped at 20 to 1 for TK and kinder. But we can go over 1 or 2 students or 3, and we can pay the teacher if we need to, but we're going to avoid that as much as we can, because we want to keep numbers at the negotiated cap that we have agreed with our teacher unions. So the goal is to maximize the number of students that are in the classes, right? Because that is a savings, and that is what we use to budget for the number of positions that we're going to need across the district in teaching positions and staffing for clerical support, for maintenance, and operations, for everything. So we're hoping to keep it at that level. But I do want to just remind you all that this district, as well as lots of districts in California, are in declining enrollment, low birth rates, and also, families are leaving the area because of the high costs of living here in the Bay Area in California. And so, what we are doing is we are trying to attract more students that have left to other districts and inter-district permits, or that are, they're not liking charters, and we are seeing some of those students return. And so we want to encourage more of them to come back to our district, so that we can provide whatever supports they need.
Sergio, can I make one correction, please? I'm sorry. TK is 20 to 1. Kinder through 3rd grade is 24 to 1. And 4th through 8th grade is 31 to 1. Sorry about that.
Cool. Thank you. And then the next one is around wellness centers. Will schools still have wellness centers?
The middle schools will have wellness centers.
And then the next one's around the painting of the school sites. Will the murals be saved at the schools that will be having a paint job? And this is actually something where I've been in a few of those meetings discussing with the principals too, how they wanted to do their painting. And there are certain murals that, especially like entire wall murals, that will be preserved. There's other murals that are smaller or have a lot of detail. That with the fresh coat of paint right next to it, that mural is going to look very old. So the principals and the school site are deciding to start fresh and redo a new mural. So it will really depend by school site which murals will stay up. But for the most part, if it's big and relatively fresh, and the principal and the school community wants to keep it, I think it will be kept.
Yep. Great. Thank you.
And coming back to the bus routes, there's 2 questions there, more about the middle school, because I think the early drop off for elementary school was mentioned. Was there also early drop off for middle?
Not at this time.
Yeah.
We find that students don't unfortunately use the program in the morning.
And regarding bus return trips to the school on the route that they're on. And before we get too deep, I do want to mention again that the application right now is just for those that completed the bus interest survey. So it's only the specific families, the 160 families that did complete that survey. right now it's not fully open to everyone to apply and get in, but starting with those families that did complete and express that interest early on. But sorry, back to the question, is there going to be a return trip to the school in the afternoon?
Yes, there will be.
Cool. I think this one gets a little bit into the para educators for kinder and first grade. Will we have those next school year?
Oh, that's for me. So, for kindergarten, yes, but not for first grade. We typically have them for TK and kinder, but not for first grade.
Will the Fisher Tech Lab be transferred to Matson?
Do you want to answer that, Sandra? Or
That-
yeah.
That's a good question, and that's one that I'll have to look into. I know that the principals are working very closely to transfer anything that is needed at Matson. Matson might have their own, so I don't want to say yes and they already have what they need. So all I can say is that both principals are working very closely to make sure that Matson has anything they may need from the Fisher campus.
Correct. Yeah. So if they do need it, they are gonna be able to take it. So it's kind of like a yes, no.
Yeah.
It's yes, but we are gonna use it.
Can I just reiterate, Matson does have a Vils Tech Lab too, fully stocked. So yes, and
Oh, they're talking about the Bills lab. Okay, yes, they do.
Oh, it's the bills.
And if there's any other questions from the audience, I don't see any more questions in the chat. So if you all would like to raise your hand and or add a question into the chat, we can take it now. Yeah, Susie, I see your hand raised.
Yes, sorry. One another question. Since you guys are saying that like the other school already has a tech lab, I know that that Fisher also has a weight room. Does Matson have one too?
Like an exercise equipment weight room?
Yeah, because
For
I know
students?
that the 49ers donated that to the Fisher campus. So I'm wondering, like, will that also be moved over since that's an amenity that they had here,
Yeah.
or they won't have that anymore?
I'm taking a note of that, Susie, and I think what I'll have the principal do is maybe share some of the things that will be transferred over to Matson.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I'm thinking. Because I didn't know that they had a tech lab. I know that when I went, I didn't see the little futsal, little thing that they have back there. I don't know if they have lockers either. Like we weren't really able to see the campus, so I'm still like a little, and it's hard for me to go, like during the day because like when they're open, I'm working, and then when I'm off, like they're already off. Like no one can really give me a tour. So that's why I'm asking these questions because I'm not quite sure.
Okay, Susie, thank you very much. I'm gonna reach out to the principal and we'll get you the answers that you're asking.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then coming back to, and this one might be related to a conversation, Sandra, that you and I had around traffic enhancements to schools. The drop zones for schools need to be more organized because of the increase of students attending. And it seemed a little more of a comment than a question, but maybe it made me think about that conversation. And do you know if there's anything you would like to share or like?
The drop, and I want to mention the drop zone for the schools needs to be more organized. This is a concern due to the increase. Oh, I know it. Drop off. Drop off is a concern. Yeah, I know that at all of the schools. I know that the principals are anticipating more students at their schools, and so they're all working on plans for how they will do the morning drop off so that they can keep kids safe. So I would look for information on that during the summer. Most principals send out a welcome letter and they share information on what that drop-off process is.
The next question is about the budget deficit, I believe. So we are still $10 million short from the 20 million the district is supposed to cut. Is that correct with?
Well, it's really not that that we're 10 million. We are for next year, we reduced more than it was 20 million per year that we had to that we were in the deficit. So next year we're only 9.5-ish million dollars deficit spending. We still have money in the bank. And then for the third year in 26, 27, we're at like 7.5.6 million dollars deficit spending. We still have I have the figures here. We still have money in the bank. We still have a reserve of 3%, and per ed code, we're supposed to have 3% reserves from our budget. So we are doing everything, cutting extra, in extra areas where we feel we're not getting a return on investment so that we can address that. And so I also want to mention that in next year is a very important year because we need to monitor our attendance, how many students are going to return, and we did lay off quite a few staff from our district, and so there was a huge salary savings from that, and so we may need to make some more cuts next year to address the deficit for the third year out. But we will know more in August, depending on the budget and also the first interim that we will have next year once students are in their seat, right, enrolled at our school sites. And Assistant Superintendent of Business will be presenting that to the board. Hopefully, I believe it's in September. So we'll have more accurate information for you.
All right. So yeah, well, there's two more questions. One about staffing for cafeteria and custodial staff and what that means for meal menus. And then the other one about after school programs for middle schoolers. And then I'll hand it off to the folks to answer that. But first is there anyone here who can speak to the school cafeteria custodial staff being transferred and if those meal menus will be consistent? I think the answer to both of those are yes.
Yeah. Yes, they will. And so we're going to be monitoring. Remember that we've allocated staff based on, there's bumping rights. We've assigned staff to support the sites. Yes, the enrollment is increasing, and we're going to be monitoring that. And if there's a need for additional staffing and all that, we will make a determination next year. And again, I want to go back to next year. We are projecting. It's going to be a tough year, right? We are hoping that all the students that are and families that are hoping to stay here in this district and are hoping to return. But we will know more when school starts, and so we'll continue to monitor that. Okay.
We're going to go into the after school programs question. I'm going to hand it off to Dr. Jimenez, who's leads that effort.
She answered. Okay, go ahead, Kyla.
Oh, yeah. Good evening. Yes, we will be having after-school programs at all the sites. There will be a change at the middle schools. We will be having Boys and Girls Club at the middle school starting in August. And they are already starting to do registration for next year. And we will continue to offer all the additional after-school enrichments that go with that. So yeah, we're excited about the change for next year.
Yeah, and then I think one of the things is like specific programs is really hard to name because they're different by school site.
Sorry, Sergio, it'll be Boys and Girls Club for our middle schools. And then elementary will either have Think Together or YMCA.
And will they be free?
Yes, they will be free. All our after school programs are free.
All right. And I think that might be the last question. I think one of the questions on here is that with the increase of students at the school sites and the movement of staff, does that mean that there's going to be more staff by the school sites that grow? And I think
Yes.
the answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes. And remember that we are assigning teachers based on and staff based on enrollment at the school site. I've already added some assistant principals to some of the school sites. I'm not sharing which of the school sites yet because it still has to go to board. And like I mentioned, we're going to be monitoring attendance closely, enrollment closely, and if it gets to a certain threshold, then we will be assigning additional administration, additional teachers, staffing to support that school site. So thank you for your question.
And going back, I think I might have missed a question earlier in the chat. This was regarding enrollment numbers. And we might not have specific enrollments numbers right now, but do we have kindergarten and or TK enrollment numbers?
Jesus might have that information, but I don't know if he has it off the top of his head. Mm,
I don't have them right in front of me, Miss Sandra, but I can definitely get the parents' name and information, and I'd be happy to follow up with them and provide those first thing in the morning.
And we can also add it to our newsletter. We can add that information, Jesus. So
yeah,
so everybody's getting the information as well. Thank you.
thank you, Jesus.
Okay. And I think that is basically all the questions that were general enough that might fit everyone. There are more specific questions that are asked for school site based programs, and I think those can be answered both at the school level, unless we might have an answer right now. And I see Dr. Bickford.
Yeah, I was just trying to find out if the STEAM, because San Jose City tends to offer some STEAM clubs at various sites different years. But we also have teacher-sponsored Mesa clubs at our middle schools. And that generally happens at all middle schools where we have the Mesa projects happening with a sponsored teacher.
Thank you. And I think there was a question there about the just double checking about the para educators for kinder programs. Do we have those?
Para educators for kinder?
Yeah.
Yeah, we answered that earlier. Yes. I mean, sometimes there are openings, but yeah, we do offer them for TK and kinder para educators. Mhm.
Yeah, the parent had missed that part. So yeah, thank you, Sandra.
All right. So with that, that answers all our questions that we have in the chat. Just wanted to give it for a round of closing thoughts, and we'll finish off with Superintendent Serra, but gonna hand it off around the room if anyone would like to share a few words, whether Dr. Jimenez, Dr. Bickford, Ms. Garcia, Jesus, Lupe, I see you on here too.
All I want to say is that, our team has been working very hard to get things in place so that we can end the school year on a very positive note and to give our principals the support and the answers that they need so that they could help you feel confident that, we are doing everything we can to make sure we have a positive start to the new year. So thank you for your patience. And as always, if you have questions, please reach out to any member of the team, and we're happy to provide answers for you.
Okay. And if no one else has any more to share, thank you all for coming. I'm gonna hand it off to Superintendent Serra to close us out.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Sergio. Yes, I want to ditto what Sandra is saying. We have a very dedicated staff, very hardworking, very caring. Truly do, appreciate every single one of them. They're all part of the reimagining of Alum Rock. And, there were a couple of things that we didn't cover here that I want to close out with that are, I think, exciting for Alum Rock is that it's going to be exciting next year. Yes, we've gone through so much this year with the school closures, with consolidation. It's going to impact everyone in this district, right? Every family, even if your school is not being closed. And so I just want to thank all of you. Thank you for your patience, but very, very exciting times. We just signed an MOU to offer college courses with San Jose Evergreen that will be offering college courses for our sixth through eighth grade next year. And we also will be piloting this summer, if you haven't signed up, and we're going to be offering an engineering class to some of our eighth grade students that will be leaving us and will be joining the high school districts. And so remember when you take a college course, these actually count towards your high school diploma, but they also count towards college. And so I will be working closely with and I have been working closely with the Chancellor, Doctora Beatriz Chaides from Evergreen, San Jose Evergreen, whom is just so ready to expand the program. And one more thing is we're going to be offering algebra next year to our students, or we're going to be offering uh, accelerated math courses to our students next year. And so at every site. So, and we're talking about the middle school. So please be on the lookout for that. The other thing is I want to remind you that every week there is a weekly superintendent's update that is sent out, and a lot of important information is being shared with the family. So please be on the lookout for that, and make sure you when you get bored, just log on and read it. And I just want to thank you for everything, and we're looking forward to closing out this year on a positive note. We have a lot of great things to celebrate, a lot of beautiful schools. Yes, they are closing, but they're having some beautiful, ceremonies that, to celebrate. Um, they're beautiful schools, right? And we're hoping to keep the names of those schools alive. And so we're going to be working with our board on that. So thank you very much. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the next update.
Good night.